Hey guys, welcome to episode number 6. Today we're talking about nutrition. I have my friend Jeff Collado here.
What's going on?
35 nutritionist, bachelor in nutrition, and been a nutritionist for over 10 years. We have a lot of topics to talk about today. I'm pretty sure you're gonna like this and how important nutrition aspect in training and overall daily life.
Yeah,
How you doing, Jeff?
I'm doing really good, man. Thank you very much for having me on. Very honored to be here, to be able to talk to your people. So yeah, let's get this
All
going.
right, let's go in. Quick question: how do you start it? Why do you start it? And a lot of people also think like we're like, oh, you were always put in a perfect circumstances, reason why you always train or whatever the case it is. But no, we actually all started from somewhere. We wanted to know more or less your background. What did you started? What were your sports or things like that? What makes you slowly gravitate to nutrition?
All right. So growing up, I was very overweight. I got up to a point where I was about 260 pounds.
How
Um,
old?
Sorry,
How old were you then?
I was like I was always fat and chubby. I was probably up into my early teens.
Oh wow.
Up until I was 17 is when I found the gym, and then I started falling in love with it, and then I started learning more about it, which is what allowed me to lose weight. Wound up losing 70 pounds, but then I would yo-yo diet a lot because of dealing with a lot of like mental health issues at that point. But because of that, I wound up finding bodybuilding. I loved bodybuilding back in the 90s, especially
Yeah.
with those
That's the good old
physiques
days
were
of bodybuilding.
amazing, dude. That really is what sparked my fire.
How do you find bodybuilding? How was that introduced? You have a specific event that you remember or something? How were
Arnold,
you introduced?
Arnold pumping iron.
So you watch Pumping Iron
Yeah,
at that age. Oh,
yeah,
nice.
and then also the Arnold Schwarzenegger the encyclopedia that he had, that book.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that got me into it, and then my cousin as well. So and then I got so heavily obsessed with it. I remember like Lee Labrada and Sean Ray were two of my favorite physiques back in the day.
Yeah.
And then one of my ex girlfriends at the time, she pushed me to get back into school because I had such a passion for it that I got my degree in nutrition, which is where I wound up meeting a close friend of mine who we're still best friends. She introduced me to her uncle who coached me for my first bodybuilding show back in 2008. And then from there, I just fell in love with it, you know. And then I started getting into powerlifting from there. And
What was your introduction to powerlifting? Because bodybuilding and powerlifting is a whole different world.
it was during that boom of natural powerlifting when powerlifting was really huge within the natural circuit
Yeah.
that I got into it, and then I started learning about daily undulating periodization, dub training, so which got me squatting up to 3 times a day, 3 times a week. But it was also really gratifying because, dude, I would always see those guys squatting 405 and all that, and then I finally got to the point where I was squatting 405 for reps, and it was fantastic. And then I started falling in love with that because I was really good at deadlifting. And like I said, I had the state
You
record
play
at
any
one point.
sports?
When I was young, I was active, but I was really heavy. So being Dominican, my dad got me into baseball. I didn't like it too much because I just found it to be boring, but I was always doing stuff. I would either play baseball, play basketball, and then I got into rollerblading, which is now what I'm doing. So right now, I started the year wanting to lose weight. I lost like 10 pounds, and then I wound up gaining weight because life happens.
Yeah.
And I think that that's something that I'm using now that I want to start documenting so I can show people how it is that I'm doing it, and just to show people that things happen, life happens. You're not always going to be looking fantastic. You're going to get heavy, you're going to gain weight. You just got to deal with it. So I'm using that now to be able to document it so people can see my change, because next year I have a goal of wanting to grind the rail on rollerblades. So I'm physically doing everything for that so that I can do that for next year to fulfill a childhood dream. And then I'm gonna bodybuild one more time in my 50s in like what, 6 years, so I can show my kids anything's possible.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, dude.
That was
Yeah,
fun.
yeah,
Same here. I started also with the bodybuilding. I think most of us do it.
yeah,
Reading magazines, looking all these guys from the 90s are big and how they're training, DVDs and
yeah.
VHS and all that stuff. I was like that. But I started training as a bodybuilder the same way. I just always gravitate to strength. I can't pinpoint like a specific thing. But I guess it's all about like the movies that we were watching in those days. And grandma for me.
Which?
Grandma, my grandma.
Oh yeah.
because she run a whole big farm, 10 kids on her own. She was a tough cookie. She was just like bringing cows down, picking sacks of like produce, carrying stuff. I'm like, how is she so strong?
Damn, that's a
So
whole.
to me, that was the representation of strength. I was like, damn, I want to be able to be like that. So I guess that's what I'm thinking about it. Reason why I got so like attracted to strength, and then of course after that I was just very competitive, just
Yeah.
competitive
See, for me, it was more
for nature.
aesthetics. It was more aesthetics because I was always fat and overweight. So I wanted to look like those guys in the magazines. You know, I
Yeah,
wanted to be lean, and then I did it. But then once I started finding strength and how gratifying it was, I started tying my identity to that, and it was just great. I was bigger, I was stronger. I wasn't really picked on anymore because I used to
right,
get picked on a lot when I was fat because I was always just very quiet, very always in the corner, keeping to myself, very shy and very timid. That strength helped me give me a boost, which was really good. And then it's only really now that I'm really grateful for all those years of suffering through all that training and that
right.
because I'm very highly competitive
Right.
and I'm really able to, I guess, enjoy life better now because I can do menial things like picking up my kids and my back's not breaking, dude. I come
Right.
across a lot of people who are in their 40s now. I'm about to be 45 and that they can't even do this stuff. And I'm really
Right,
grateful.
not even 45. I've seen 20-year-olds that can't do 5 push-ups.
Yeah.
That to me is like, what are you doing, man? I'm sorry. I'm a dad too. My kids are all they think about is the workout.
Yeah. Same with my girls. My girls love to eat good. It's funny. Like my 6-year-old, she loves when I eat spinach. She just loves to eat the spinach raw. I'm really blessed because
Yeah.
me and my wife we take care of ourselves very
Yeah, that's
much.
also important. Also need the support.
Yeah, man.
Also need the support. Be surrounded with people with like-minded experiences so you can drive and makes the transition easier.
Community is huge, and it's like I was always so used to being a loner that now as I'm getting older, my best years that I had were when I was powerlifting with my group of people, with my now wife, my best friend, and several other guys. We would always meet up in the gym, and we would always just be there for hours just on the squat rack because we're all going through the same torture,
Yeah.
and it was just great. Always having that banter. Even when I was training with you, Jan, and Sam, it was
Yeah.
just I missed that. And now it's like I'm craving it, and now I really want it more than anything. Like I finally got my urge to train again
Yeah.
because there were several years I was just burnt out
Yeah.
and I hated it, and the love is starting to come back. Now it's like my body's kind of like pissed with me, so I'm fixing that stuff. But I miss that, and that's why I want to start training with people again. Is
Yeah,
it's
that's
just it's
important because
great,
no
dude.
matter what stage of life you are, you're always working towards a goal. We don't have everything figured out, but we find ways as we go on, as experience, as we learn, try to make it happen. It's just
Yeah.
there's no other answer to that.
And just if you have other people that are going through
Yeah,
that same torture, it's just nice knowing that you're not doing it alone. And we always did it with a smile on our face,
yeah. There you have
and
it.
it
Right?
showed.
Community is always important.
Yeah, man, huge, huge.
Absolutely, I'm glad. I think we're gonna make that happen for you. So
Yeah, I
reach
hope
all your
so,
goals,
dude.
and then we'll get the group of guys together again
Oh, God, I
and
would
make it
love it.
happen. That would be fun. Actually, we should document that because I think I have probably some clips of us, Jan, Sam, training back in what 2017, 2018,
Yeah, God,
somewhere around there. Because we started training together about 2015 or so, I think.
something like that. I
Yeah,
just
so
remember back in I was geared up with my knee sleeves, my freaking wrist wraps,
yeah.
everything. Oh, dude,
So
I
maybe
miss
we get
those
the
days.
group together and we get a workout
Oh,
session.
I would
See where
love
we
it.
all at.
I would love it.
Because we all are past 40s now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, I would love it.
That would be awesome. I'll make that happen. Okay, so one of the big topics and the reason we're sitting here today is it doesn't get talked too much in training no more, especially in athletes. I don't think they take that as important as it should be as far as the training. Also, for general population, they have no idea because today's world you have so many different ways to go about it. Too much information also gets clustered and they don't know where to start. So I want to kind of clean the area for people to understand how to approach nutrition towards their goals or what things matter, what things that we have to consider,
Hmm.
and then we'll take it from there.
All right.
So what's your experience as far as the nutrition?
So with nutrition, as Jose said, I've been a nutritionist for 10 years. I went to college. I got my degree in nutrition with a concentration in dietetics. I also was a bodybuilder. I did a show back in 2008, and then I did two of them in 2012. And then that led me into going into powerlifting for several years, about 3 years. And that was a great time. I got to do some really great stuff that I never thought I could. I got a really cool state record in Jersey for a deadlift, which was really, really rewarding. And then after a couple years of doing that, I wound up burning out really hard because using too much rage and stuff to get through things and going through all those competitions and that training was really brutal. So my body didn't take too well to it.
Yeah, I remember when we first met. It was about probably what 12, 15 years ago.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and then yeah, we're powerlifting. We're both really going at it.
yeah. That was during like probably the tail end of my powerlifting when I was like really starting to like get too beat up that I couldn't get into it anymore. And this
Right.
I just kept trying to push something that shouldn't have been pushed, and I'm still kind of paying for it now. So yeah.
All right. So I have a quick question. So since you have a background for yourself as far as a power lifter, a bodybuilder, and also being out of competitive field, and a personal question of mine is like, how do we tackle nutrition in different aspect of life? So I want to start with how do we help a person who wants to start their fitness journey and pretty much from zero. Because one of the things that we just spoke about before we started is so much information. It's hard to tackle and absorb all that information and just come up with a plan that fits you. So what are things that you pretty much consider, or how do you approach this topic when you meet a client?
So it's funny, like back then when I used to approach this, it was very different than where it is now. It's just I'm in a different headspace. I'm older. I have kids, and I have more of an emphasis on longevity at this point. So I tend to like to do things very holistically now. I like to look at the bigger picture as opposed to just, hey, I want to lose weight. What do I have to do? And here's a diet. I don't do that anymore. Because I have to take into account your background, what you've done, how often you've dieted, maybe even looking into blood work to see if what's going on underneath the hood. Because if you don't have a healthy body, then how can you expect to make any change? Right. So I always like to start with pure basics. I just keep everything as simple as possible. Simple, I know it's not interesting, it's very boring, but simple is what works. And that's what really gets you to be going into furthering into your career. I wish I was thinking like that when I was powerlifting, because then I would be approaching things much better.
What do we consider basic now?
Sleep. Nobody sleeps. People don't really sleep as often. And something as basic as water. You'd be surprised. I deal with a lot of adults that say that they have no time to drink water. They have no time to sleep. I have 3 kids. I have a job. I coach, and I have my wife. So you mean to tell me I have time for this? Why don't you?
Right.
It just comes down to prioritization.
I think a lot of people today also looking for a magic pill,
Yeah. I
and
mean,
then not necessarily taking care of the factors and the things that you can control before you make
mhm.
changes.
Which is why GLP-1s are such a huge thing now. They're all the rage. Everybody just wants things to be really easy, and it's just who wants to put in the work.
Correct. So yeah, when it comes to the subject of nutrition, like as basic as it is, we want hydration, we want sleeping. Now, when we actually diving into nutrition itself and food itself, what is the way to go when you're just starting? I know it can get complicated as you go, but just the initial push.
Simple. Eat more vegetables, eat more fruit, and just slowly start eating more protein. If when I tell people who are just coming to me very basic, I just say I have to take an audit of what they're eating, right? I normally like to ask for like a 5-day food log, see what's going on, and then just pretty much start picking things apart very, very slowly because I know people don't like too much change all at once. So I normally like to start with breakfast. So making sure you have a bit of protein, some type of vegetable and fruit, and a complex carb. Just very, very basic.
So,
And drink water.
all right, let's talk about breakfast. How important is actually breakfast? That's the $1 million question.
So for me, I think breakfast is incredibly important just to be able to get your day started. I know that there's many different facets with people saying different things, but I think that if you're able to start your day eating well, you're going to have a much better headspace to be able to attack your day. You have more energy to be able to approach what you're doing with a little bit more intensity and focus. So that to me is incredibly
And
important.
what will be something like, I know some people like general population. We wake up, it's not like we're waking up, taking our time, taking a shower. We usually wake up on a rush.
Yeah.
So when people, I think, skip the breakfast, it's mostly from time consuming.
Mhm.
So what's something that what we want to tackle as far as breakfast that can help people, like you said, getting energized, getting your body rolling, and do things like that?
So, firstly, I would just ask people if they can wake up half an hour early to be able to get something cooked. No, most of the time it's no. So then I just give some basic options. Maybe overnight oats. You get a mason jar, you fill it up with some oats, some yogurt, some fresh fruit, and protein powder, and some milk, and mix it up together. Have it the night. You set it up in the fridge the night before. Have it in the morning when you wake up.
Does ratio matters on breakfast as far as like protein, carbs, and fats?
It's important, but when you're a beginner, that's not that important. The most important thing is just making sure that you're changing how you've eaten. When it comes to more dialed in structure, I like to deal with that later on. It's just more now, just get the food together, eat it, and it'll fill you up because you're not used to eating fresh food. So that
Mhm.
will fill you up automatically. Everyone's normally used to having a coffee with a croissant or something carb and fat laden.
Right.
And then that's gonna obviously get you more hungry later. So if you're swapping that for something more wholesome, like what I said, like overnight oats, it's gonna actually take you maybe a couple of days to adapt to eating that because you're just not used to it.
Oh, I see. So now, how does this tackle as far as like activity levels? Let's say some people don't necessarily are active until later on the day, or they start the day like, let's say maybe their workouts in the morning. Does that apply to breakfast as the same thing?
I would say if you're going to be training in the morning, then I would have to ask, are you waking up and then going to train? Because my wife, that's what she does. She wakes up 15 minutes later, she's out the door and she goes to train.
Right.
So it took me a while to get her to adapt it to having something like Gatorade while she's training. So
Right.
if that's what you're going to do, you're going to wake up first thing in the morning. I would say have something really quick and easily digestible. And everyone's different, clearly. So you can try something as simple as protein, like a ready to drink protein shake with a banana. Something
Right.
simple that shouldn't really hold you. It shouldn't really slow you down. So then you go into train. But if you wake up and then you have some time to eat something, I would say eat, wait an hour, and then go train.
Okay, about an hour. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Because I remember from my own experience, I used to be able to get away with like 30 minutes. Remember? And 30 minutes, I will have a meal and go into
yeah.
my workout.
And you would eat like a lot, dude. I don't know how the hell you
Right.
stomach that.
Now, I need almost like an hour and a half to two. But now, granted, it's a different from 20-year-old and 40.
Yeah, yeah.
And I noticed that my workouts now are better if I'm having an hour and a half to two.
Mhm.
Sometimes two is a little tricky depending on what I'm doing because then I crash in between my workouts.
But see, what you do is exactly what I used to do. I would wake up actually back when I was lifting a lot with in powerlifting. I would wake up 2 hours before, eat a big breakfast of oatmeal, egg whites with
Yeah.
an egg white omelet with peppers and all that. Make sure that I'm good because I know 2 hours later, by the time I get to the gym, I'm ready to go. Now, not so different. My time constraints are very, very tight. So I wake up, I have a carb drink with some EAAs or a protein shake, and then I'm out the door and I go. And then that normally gets me going. Then I come back home, I rest for a bit, I take a shower. Once I'm calmed down and I'm more in like a calmer state, then I start eating a whole meal.
So when somebody's starting, let's say everybody wants to tackle everything, pretty much, okay, I'm making a decision to start my journey. Later, I'm going to sign up to a gym. I know also nutrition is important. So they add all these factors. I'm trying to schedule it with my work, if I'm free at work or something. And then they, how do you plan that for yourself?
Plan out the day for
Right. So what's a good guidelines to get you set up with that?
so I like to just be prepared. If I understand that if I'm prepared, having my meals ready, that's one less thing I need to worry about, right? So what I'll do is I'll just easily have my breakfast at home. I'll wait till I have lunch, and when I'm in the office, I'll bring something in. And then I normally have a snack like about an hour before I leave. So I eat every 4 hours for the most part.
Every 4 hours?
Four
Okay,
to
so
five hours.
does it matter the times?
People say yes, but to be honest, I think that those specifics are more in line with people who are competing. You don't need to be that rigid if you're just starting new or you're just a general population person. I feel like those types of nuances can start coming in more and more the more hooked you get into the process.
All right, so you deal with a lot of general population people, people that starting to like want to make a difference as far as the nutrition and everything. What are the common questions or what are the common mistakes that you usually do
Oh,
when starting that?
oh my man. So it's always people think that they slash more calories than they have to, which winds up making them get extremely fatigued, which impacts their sleep, which also impacts how they're feeling, impacts their cognition. So it's really important that you have to understand that it's a long game. You have to be patient. You can't really just blow your load from the beginning. You have to make sure that it takes weeks to be able to see some changes, and you have to be okay with that because what got you there is the amount of time that it took you to get to where you are is going to probably be roughly the same amount of time to get you out of it. So if you come in overweight, you've been like that for a very long time. So it's going to take time in order for you to be able to change the way you live, your lifestyle habits. Because for me, I think that habits are way more important than anything. Any plan that anyone gives you, it's great on paper, but in reality,
Right.
it's garbage because people you have to understand people are coming at you with their own ideologies, with the way they do things. So you have to also work that in because it takes time for people to understand change needs to happen first in your head before anything else.
Yeah, something in the training side that I see a lot also it's I think people undereat
Oh,
a
severely,
lot.
severely, severely.
And I feel like when you undereat at some point, then just introducing food is too much.
Yep. So people, it's funny. People, a lot of my clients always come to me saying that they barely eat, or they eat too much, or when I'm giving them a meal plan or something to follow, they're like, "This is too much food." But it's like, so you mean to tell me you can easily eat Mickey D's, but you can't eat a bowl of rice with vegetables and chicken? Why is that? It's
Right.
not as high. It's not as hyper palatable, but
Right.
you make it. You learn how to cook. You learn to make it taste better.
Mhm.
That's how I learned, because I knew I couldn't impact my mom being Dominican and Hispanic in my house. My mom is over here cooking for the family, cooking for my dad. I can't expect her to do everything for me, so I had to learn to do that stuff myself.
Right. Well, also on the other spectrum, when somebody eats too much,
Hmm.
how do we get them to dial in things to be at level or start making changes? So let's say usually, like we said, people undereat,
Hmm.
and then we have to get them used to food.
Hmm.
How about the other way around? When
So,
they're in a very high amount of food, and we want to start controlling things.
so then I would ask. My question would be: you eat a lot of food. What are you eating? That's a lot of food. Are you eating a lot of junk food?
Yeah, probably for the most part it is.
Cool. So then no different than the person who undereats. You have to get used to just eating better food, better quality food, because
Yeah.
that in of itself is going to fill you up. You're so used to eating food that's going to just it's just empty calories that yeah, anyone can hammer down burgers and fries and still be okay an hour later. But you talk to me when you eat again rice with some type of meat, with some beans and vegetables, and you probably won't even be able to you won't be able to finish that meal.
Okay, I see. Also, how do we a person, let's say, because this is a very good guidelines I always give to a person starting, not make changes while they're just starting to train, because we don't know if they're already eating a lot, a little,
Mhm.
to add the demands of training and the fitness, whatever they're doing, the running, the cardio, the training, it's an addition to. So I like to always give them as a guidelines, like let's wait a week or two, see how you're feeling with the addition of training before we make changes.
Mhm.
Is that something that will be a good approach, or automatically has to be changed, or what's your take on that?
I normally take that as on a case to case. It
Yeah.
happens from case to case because everyone's different. So what I like to do is I like to tell people, how about this? Let's not train for a week or two. Let's give your body a bit of a break if you've been training. And if you haven't, then cool, it's fine. Let's start with one thing, get good at it, and then start another. I
Oh, I
normally
see.
find that within about 2 to 3 weeks, they're kind of like itching to do something because they feel like nothing is happening. So you get them moving. Maybe if anything, when you introduce the training, introduce very low volume because they have to get adapted. It's just, you have to understand it's a lot of change that's happening for people, and it's like I always find that their identity, it almost like gets rocked a bit because they're so used to doing things a certain way that it's like now they have to accept something new to then continue moving forward, because they have to see that this is very beneficial for you, not only now, it's later on. And it's not, for me, it wasn't until I got older and I started having kids that I started realizing that longevity is something that's really, really important to me. I want to be around. So,
Right. So also another thing that I see a lot of the clients, I'm trying to get as many questions from clients because
mhm.
I know they're pretty much asking the same thing. Is a lot of people don't have the energy to start working out. Probably has something to do with their nutrition,
Mhm.
right? So they're used to that stress level, cortisol, all these things raise up, and then when you add training, that adds more stress to the body. So how do we mitigate that? Because
Just
a lot of the reasons why people don't start is because they feel that they don't have enough time because they're tired all the time.
mhm,
They also stress levels are very high, and then the fact that I don't even know what to do.
mhm.
So that's a lot of negative stuff to you haven't even have started yet. So what role does nutrition plays on that?
Plays a big role, but so does training.
Correct.
So, yes, you say that training is going to be a stressor, but it's also a good stressor. It's
Yeah.
a stressor that's going to allow you to be able to handle stress better. The harder you train, the more resistance training you do, the stronger you get. That means you're also increasing your stress resiliency.
Yeah.
So, I would tell people, you can't handle stress, right? Cool. Start working out. That's too much. Give it a month. And then they always come back.
Because we
Start
adapt
getting
as,
better.
as humans, we
You
adapt
have to
to
adapt.
stress. Yes.
Yeah. And then
Correct.
the same thing with nutrition. If you find that you're very stress ridden, right? Cool. How much coffee are you drinking? Okay, normally 3 cups. All right. Are you drinking water? Most of the time is no.
Right.
And then when I tell people you have to start drinking, I want to see you up to 3 liters, but we have to start. Let's start with 16 ounces. Then let's go up to 32. Let's go up to then
Right. So slowly,
64.
gradually make the changes that you need.
Mm-hmm.
So okay.
Because you can't. I've been finding throughout the years you can't give the whole kitchen sink approach. You need to lead people slowly, because too much change too soon is going to be too much for some people.
Okay.
Some people can handle this. Those who are really serious, who are at that point where their back is against the wall and it's either a life or death situation, they'll do it. I've been finding a lot of people don't. So it's almost like they need to be
Mhm.
led there.
Right. And what's the typical goal then a person that comes to you that wants to start a reason? What's the main reason that they usually seek for nutrition advice?
Lose weight,
Is to lose weight?
lose weight.
And do you ever tackle, because I do you ever tackle the reason of why losing weight is important to them?
Yes.
And does it come with an emotional? Because I know food can be an emotional thing.
So it's funny. Like, I think the emotional aspect is probably one of the most important, because I know that was one of my biggest issues. I was a mess and mentally growing up, because I I I hated myself. I was very depressed. I lacked a lot of confidence and a lot of self-esteem, and I've been noticing a lot of people are like that because we're living in a world that everything is so quick. Social media is everywhere. Everyone wants a quick fix. Why can't I do it? And then I empathize with that because I get it. I see where they're coming from. So, that to me is the most important thing. I always like to get to the root cause of it, like what's causing it. And then if it's something that's a little bit more than what I can talk about through my experience, I would tell them to visit therapy. I feel like everyone needs therapy. Everyone needs someone to talk to.
Yeah, because it's hard. So when somebody is like in that bad habits for a while, I feel like it's really tough to get them to understand. They might see it, they might hear it. Great, what you're saying is, I know that that's what needs to be done. but it's so far from getting started to get there.
Yeah. Case in point, I have a client who I've been working with for like 3 years. It's only at the 2 year mark that he started to realize everything that I've been saying for the past 2 years and how important it is that he's been actually adopting it more now. And now he's making change. So sometimes it can take that long. It just depends on how rigid you are.
We're again, longevity
Yeah.
was is a long process.
Yeah. And people think that when I also get a lot of people who come up to me, oh, I want to lose weight within 3 months.
Right, correct.
I'm like, okay, well, it's gonna take more time than that. People don't like that. So I get a lot of people that drop off. I'm fine. Before it used to kill me.
Yeah,
Now I'm cool with it. I'm not gonna expend more energy on you. I'm not gonna want this more than
right,
you want it for yourself, you know? So
correct.
if you're not part of that, then all right, cool.
So you have to make a decision that changes needs to be made,
Yeah.
and that you're willing to go through the process of whatever it takes. Not necessarily have an expectation like, oh, I want to look like this, or I want to be in this particular vacation. I want to fit in this particular dress, because that's pretty much a lot of people. It's also the training. They know they have to do physical activities for a while, but they prolong. They
Yeah.
they just leave it in the back burn until it's like, okay, I went to get my checkup, and everything is out of whack.
Yeah, and then you have no choice now.
So now you have your choice what to do it. But I feel like that's with everything that people do, and then it's and then you have to start all physical, nutrition, mental, and it can be overwhelming to people.
Yeah.
And I feel like how people relapse into their problems.
That's the whole kitchen sink approach.
Right.
I know that when I've done it myself, I was so extremely rigid that yeah, I would start strong after a month. Okay, cool, things are going good. Then after 2 months, when life starts hitting, I didn't have any tools in place. So then that's
Yeah.
why I would fall off the wagon, which is what a lot of people would do.
And going back to that topic about mental and nutrition, like since you mentioned in your case, mine was the complete opposite. Like culturally, I'm from Panama. We eat a lot of carbs and a lot of fried stuff.
Right?
My problem is that growing up, I wanted to be big. I really wanted to be big because I was a skinny dude.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, if I can put muscle, I need to eat like. Because I remember watching on TV the strongman and all these people. They were piling a lot of food, and I was like, okay, that's all I have to do. But I didn't care. But then I didn't care the quality of the food until today. I still love fried stuff.
Yeah, who
You
does it?
put a pork rind
Dude.
right in front of me, I'm devouring right away.
I mean, you're Panamanian. We're both Hispanic. Me being Dominican, like I love my mango. I love
Yeah.
my chicharrones. I love all that stuff, dude.
Yeah.
But it's like I also learned how to make it better, healthier.
Right.
But then I have my days where I want to just indulge.
And that's okay too.
Yeah, but that's fine. But you also have to understand, like, you have to earn that
Earn it.
indulgence.
Yeah.
And like, it really didn't hit me. It didn't click for me until like about several years ago that I need to be earning this stuff. I can't just be doing it because I feel like crap mentally.
Yeah.
Whenever I would get into my bouts of depression with it. So, you also have to have compassion with yourself and be cool and be okay with things. But, you know, you want it, you got to earn it, dude. Just like everything else in life. And I feel like, if anything, now having kids has been teaching me, like, I have no time for nonsense.
Yeah.
You want to do this, you got to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So now we have all these factors to people. Like we have the mental aspect of it, the relationship with food, like we just spoke about. Us heritage and Hispanics, we grew up a certain way, and so that's what we learn, and that's what we follow. Until later on, and we started like, okay, we should change things around. There's proteins, there's fat, there's carbs, and we slowly learn to make the changes for better, for longevity, right?
Yeah.
So what are good guidelines as far as like we know, and most people know what protein, fat, and carbohydrates are? I feel like, for what I've seen, people hate carbs.
Everyone does. Carbs
But
the devil.
My question is to all that, and my argument to that is why I don't think they just associated like, okay, carbs is Coca-Cola, sugar, so it's bad. Of course it is.
Yeah.
But also we have good sources and things like that. So I want to elaborate a little bit on like how do we portion, how do we look at this fat, protein, calories, and all that.
So when it comes to carbs, right? I always tell people, you need carbs. Your body runs on carbs. Your body runs on sugars. You want to think better? You want to think clear? You got to have carbohydrates. The bare minimum that you should be having is 130 grams, let's just say, right? Because that's what the brain requires for fuel, right?
Okay.
But-
But that doesn't sorry to cut you, but that doesn't matter the weight of the person?
It can vary it can vary, I guess, depending on weight, but for the most part, it's like you could say it's 130 grams. Let's just say,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Let's just use that number for now on an average person.
Yeah.
Clearly, if you're going to be a little smaller, then yeah, that number is going to be a
Okay.
little bit different, but not by much,
Okay.
not by much, right? So carbs are important. You need energy. Your body's going to use that to convert it to energy to then be able to lift. You want to get strong? Yes, who doesn't? You need carbohydrates. Are you super stressed? Yes, you need carbohydrates because the carbohydrates help to blunt the cortisol spike.
Oh,
So
really?
that's really important. Yeah. So I found that people who, like me, right, who deal with a lot of anxiety and
Mm.
who stress out for dumb things all the time,
Yeah.
you know, I find that having carbohydrates at night is a really good way to be able to calm you down to help you at least ease into sleep better as a natural way without having to use supplements or anything like
And
that.
it's okay at night, let's say, difference between carbs, different types of carbs.
Yeah.
Every carb, it's
I found that using yams is a really good way. So you kind of want like a complex carbohydrate at
okay
night.
at night.
At
Okay.
night, yes, a complex carb. What I mean by
Hmm.
complex, it's a carbohydrate that has fiber. So you have yams, you have potatoes, which is a little less. You also have brown rice. You have oatmeal. Those are the types of carbohydrates that you would want to have
At
because
night,
at night.
regardless of activity levels.
Correct.
So now I have a question with this. What about like that? I guess it all comes down to quantity, right?
Yeah.
Because let's say those complex are going to be last longer in your body.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't get used, if that energy is not getting used, does it impact your body when you wake up?
It depends on how much you're eating, to be honest. But
Okay.
this is all in the context of a general population
Okay.
person who hasn't done anything,
Oh, I see.
who's just starting.
Okay.
I would say just have it because I'm more of I like to have control over a lot of things. So I like to know exactly to the gram because I'm very like neurotic with that stuff,
Right.
right?
I know. Yeah.
So but when it comes to just Gen Pop, I mean, I would say use your judgment.
Yeah.
If you're gonna go get a yam, we're here in America, everything is huge, right? So if
Right.
you're gonna get a big yam, cut it in half
Right.
and then have that. And then have that with some protein, a good lean source of protein because there's
Lean.
clearly a lot of proteins out there. You have high fat proteins, you have low fat proteins, and moderate fat.
Yeah. I live
Always,
on high fat protein.
I would say there's nothing wrong with that as long as it's like grass fed when it comes to
Yeah.
beef, because you want quality when it comes to high fat. But I always like to tell people just go for low fat and then get your fat sources from something better, like avocados. I love
Mm.
eating avocados. That's what I grew up loving,
Yeah.
having that olive oil, any type of oils. I would say like avocado oils, macadamia nut oils are really good for you because it's very high in monounsaturated fats. So, um,
Mm.
making sure that you're paying attention to the quality of food that's coming in because you want to make sure that you're eating a lot more omega 3s fats, higher omega 3 fats, because we all get higher omega 6s, and the omega 6s are what's really causing a lot of inflammation. So you want to make sure that you're getting as high of EPA, which is icosapentaenoic acid, which is omega
Right.
threes,
Omega 3s.
right? You want to get those. And those are really like
Is
the
that the
monounsaturated.
recommended dose? Or it
Um,
also depends.
so Gen Pop,
Yeah.
just start with having that. You can
Right.
eat something. I used to like doing yams with putting some almond butter on it, and then I would have some rice. Sorry, some I would have like maybe flank steak, a little bit of flank steak,
Yeah.
and some vegetables, and then that would get me going really nice
Oh,
and
okay.
really comfortable. Yeah, so I wake up feeling
That's interesting.
better
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
clear.
So complex carbs at night is not a bad thing.
Correct. Especially if you're someone who has a hard time going to sleep, I
Really.
would start there. And then if that's not helping enough, then I would start looking into supplementation, basic stuff though, of like magnesium.
Magnesium. Yeah.
Magnesium. But it's magnesium glycinate that I would go for,
Right.
unless if you have bowel issues and you go for magnesium citrate.
Yeah.
But because there's many different
Right.
forms of
Of
it.
course.
You also have 3 and 8, which is good for your brain, but predominantly just getting glycinate, taking like 200 to 300 milligrams at night, that would also help to ease you up, especially if you're someone who, like me, suffers from a lot of anxiety and a lot of stress and high cortisol. That magnesium helps to blunt that response as well. It
Oh,
helps to calm you
interesting.
down. Yep.
Oh, that's
And
pretty
then if
good.
you're more severe than that, I can get into the weeds with this
Yeah.
because I love it, but you got L-theanine as well, which also helps to calm you down. So it's like If you're waking
Actually,
up in the
I do.
morning,
I want to tackle into that because I actually have a few clients that are struggling with the sleeping.
mhm,
Therefore, recovery and therefore training
yeah,
express in a bad way usually when resting. But I think also applies to regular population. No,
yeah, of course. Regular pop, I would say Gen Pop needs that stuff more than anything.
really.
I always start my Gen Pop people on multivitamins. I
So
have to.
so what would be like a good, let's say, like an intro sleeping routine as far as like let's say you have your meal as it is, you're still having troubles going to sleep.
Mhm.
What things can we do
Easy,
to improve that sleep?
easy. Get the hell off your phone and get the
Okay,
hell off the laptop and the
right.
TV
Sleeping.
for like at least an hour before going to bed, so you can start getting your body to like start winding down.
Okay.
I find that if I've had like a really charged up day like I did today, I'm gonna go home tonight, have a meal, and then I like to do a lot of box breathing when I'm in bed.
Box
It just
breathing.
helps to slow me the hell down, to be able to relax me. That's like taking a deep breath in through my nose and making sure I fill up my belly, holding that for 4 seconds, and then letting it out for like about 6 seconds. And then I do that like about 5 times, and that normally tends to wind me down. Yeah. But there's also a cocktail of supplements that I take at night as well,
Like
like magnesium. I also take inositol, glycine, and what's the other one? Glycine, magnesium, and theanine as well.
oh really?
Yeah, because that helps to really bring me down. Because
So does it also help as far as bringing your cortisol down? It's just more like
yeah,
quieting it and
well,
calming down your brain so you can fall asleep.
well, remember, if you're calming down, that's automatically bringing cortisol down.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, because you know something that people also need to understand, that if you're constantly high stress like that, that's going to affect your testosterone, and in women your estrogen.
Yeah.
You
I'll
know.
tell you my problem. My problem is I don't mind sleeping. It's just that when I have a hectic day
Hmm.
and I'm done and I'm quiet, then my brain starts going.
Yeah.
That's when it actually starts operating because
Yeah.
everything got muted through the day because I was busy and doing something, just repetitive, and doing something. When I get home, regardless of the phone, my brain just starts going.
Yeah.
And then I literally start researching things that have no business of thinking that day. And it's hard for me to quiet down because I'm tired.
All
Like
right.
if I'm able to quiet down, I can fall asleep. Yes, but usually that's not the case.
Welcome to my world. That's specifically why I do my box breathing and I take my supplements at night to calm myself. My brain is always running a
Right.
thousand miles a minute,
Yeah.
and it's just too much. So I know that if I continue with that, dude, I can easily stay up till 3, 4 in the morning. Then I have
Correct.
to wake up at 5 o'clock, and then that's going to impact me and how I interact with my kids, and then how I interact at
Right.
work.
Correct. Okay. So
So
that's a good advice for that. How about because I feel like sometimes the harder I train,
mhm,
the harder it is for me to go to sleep.
yeah, because you're cranked up.
Yeah.
You're cranked up.
It's hard for me to come off, especially me. I'm a hype
Yeah.
lifter
Yeah, I
per
know you
se.
are. Yeah, that's
So,
that's putting it lightly.
yeah, so it's hard for me to tune it down. And even though I work out probably in the midday, comes 10 o'clock, I'm still hype. I'm still running on that.
Yeah.
Oh,
See, like in those moments, like when I train at night,
yeah.
when I used to train at night,
That's why I don't
fuck
like
that.
training at night.
I despise it. I like it first thing in the morning. I like
Yeah,
getting in and out. But at nighttime, so what I would do at that point is I would train. I would come home. I would take a hot shower. I would do some breathing just to get myself into what's called the parasympathetic mode. So you have
yes,
two levels. You have the sympathetic, the parasympathetic, and then you have the sympathetic, right? So I need to slow down. I need to relax, because if you're in a relaxed state, then that means you're going to digest your food.
right.
Because also another thing that people have to deal with is impaired digestion because of all that stress and lack of eating. That's really, really
Lack
huge.
of eating at night,
Yeah, no, lack of eating in
in period in the
general.
day.
Yeah,
Okay, oh, I see.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, how about fat intake?
Fat intake, I, fat intake is incredibly important. I mean, do you want to be feeling good hormonally? Do you, as a
Regulate
woman,
hormones.
yeah, as a woman, do you want to have your period? How important is that to you? As a man, do you want to continue? Do you want to keep making more testosterone? Like, take it from me. At one point, I was so heavily stressed from just life and just how I managed things, and from my own depression, that my test went down to like 200. Dude, I was
Oh, I
always,
remember that.
Dude, I was always tired. I was always
Yeah.
falling asleep on my wife. When we would talk, everything, I was always exhausted and always sleeping. And then I had to just revamp how I did everything. It took me like 3 months to fix it, but it was a lot that I had to do. I had to do a kitchen sink approach and just change everything. And then you'd be surprised how when you're so used to being one way that when you see the other side, that took me a while to also get adjusted to because I was so used to like being tired that now I have so much energy,
Right.
and I loved it. So ever since then, ever since I did that back in like 2020, actually
Yeah.
after COVID,
Right.
I've been great since then. I my test now is like about 500,
Hmm.
600.
So I know, especially women with their menstrual cycle,
Mm-hmm.
that throws a lot of like hormones and
Mm-hmm.
activity levels and training and everything around.
Mm-hmm.
What are the things that they can do to help during that process?
Eat more fat.
So fat will be the answer
Yeah.
to that.
Well, it depends because
Yeah.
I would have to tell people I have to see an audit of what you're doing. So
Right.
predominantly, it would probably end up being lower fat, or maybe they're just training too hard, or they're not resting enough. So a lot goes into it. It's not just a blanket statement. I
Yeah.
need to see what it is that you're doing, because your
Okay.
habits are really what going to dictate what you're doing. You can get away with murder when you're young.
Right.
That's why you can do all those things. But then as you get older, you start realizing, yo, why am I not getting my period? Or as a man, like why am I always tired, or why am I having performance issues or stuff like that,
Right.
or why don't I have the motivation to want to go be active sexually,
Yeah.
that stuff is incredibly important, man. Your digestion is really freaking important. If you're not digesting your food, that's going to affect everything hormonally as well, because most of your hormones are made in your gut.
Right.
Yeah,
Correct.
dude.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So don't want to disturb that flora.
Yeah.
All right. So I want to change a little bit into the athletic side and
Yes.
performance side. How does that changes? So all we cover was general population for the most part. How different is it from now that you are training? Now you are a regular gym goer. Maybe you have a specific goal, or you are in a competitive mindset. Let's tackle how the aspect of nutrition can help improve performance.
So for me, this is where it gets fun, because this is where my neuroticism can come out, because then I can show you there's so many different ways to skin a cat, right?
Right.
So for me, when it comes to performance, the most important thing is, again, I'm gonna always bring it back down to sleep
Yeah.
and hydration. So not only water, but also making sure you're having enough sodium and enough electrolytes. So you also have to take into account where you're living. So right now we're in August 14th. It's super hot every day. I personally sweat buckets. So it's not only just drinking water. I have to make sure I always like to make sure I put like pink Himalayan salt into my water.
Yeah.
And then I drink that to make sure that I stay hydrated,
Yeah.
because that's really important, especially as a trainer, especially as a lifter. I would then say if you're lifting and you're also sweating buckets, you have to make sure you account for that. So you have to make sure you're taking sodium, chloride, and magnesium while you're training with, like, I would say, a carbohydrate drink,
So
right?
intra workout,
Yeah, it's
it's
really
definitely
important.
very important.
You want to make sure that when you're coming into the gym, you're doing everything you possibly can to get the job done.
A hundred
That's, to
percent.
me, is what it's all about. All that bullshit, anything you got going on, it's out the window. You're here to do a job, right? So if I'm here to do my job, I'm making sure that an hour or two, depending on the person and how they digest, have a whole food meal, have complex carbohydrates with fiber, have a little bit of fat, and make sure you have a good amount of protein. When I say a good amount of protein, it depends really on the person and what they're doing. So I can't really give a blanket statement because everybody's so
Right.
individual. But let's say 30 grams minimum, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Before you're training. And then when you're training, then it comes down to nuance. Like, okay, are you one of those people like you who just metabolizes food immediately, right?
Yeah.
If you're starting to gas out within the training session, then that means that we need to account for that. So then you would have intra-workout carbs. If you can't stomach that, then maybe we have to add more carbs in your pre-workout meal. And then you want to make sure that when you're done, you have carbohydrates again, a big carbohydrate meal with very minimal fat, so that you can actually make sure that you replenish glycogen and you start the recovery process. And you make sure you have enough protein in your food.
And what benefit, if there's any, because it's a new trend that I see, and we have it here at the gym a lot. A lot of snackers,
Hmm.
a lot of sugar
Yeah.
during their workout. Is that does any good?
Yeah, it tastes good, man.
It does. I mean, it tastes good.
But for me, I look at it from a digestive standpoint.
Yeah.
So it's gonna take your body. So yeah, you're gonna chew these gummies or whatever, eat
Right.
it, right? Yo, it's taking your body still needs to digest it. So it needs to use resources in order to do that. But then you're training. So how do you
Right.
expect to be able to
Focus.
efficiently digest that and then use that energy? That's where I think liquid carbs are just golden. So, there's so many out there. You have highly branched cyclic dextrins, you have fructose glucose blends, you have maltodextrin. Just go with what's cheap. What are your listen, I can run the gamut when it comes to supplements.
Right.
Really depends on you how much you could spend. If you can't spend much, Gatorade, dude.
Right.
Have a couple scoops of Gatorade powder, which is dirt cheap. Train with it.
Yeah.
You don't need to add protein to it because you had your
Right.
protein in your meal before that.
I'll
And then
give you a
that's it.
little secret. I have a little concussion. I remember talking to you when I started doing it. This
Yeah.
is what probably back in those days, 2019, 2018, because I was eating a lot of food and gassing out through the middle.
Yeah.
Granted, I was a big volume guy. I used to do a lot of sets and a lot of reps, and I can go. Granted, I was also 20
Yeah.
on my 20s, I could get away with all that stuff. But I remember talking to you, and then I keep it very simple. So remember, we added like the dextrose, we add salt, some BCAAs, and then just put some flavor into it.
Yeah.
And literally that make a whole big change into my workouts. Because now my brain is not thinking how hungry I am, how quick I have to finish to go eat. And it goes back to what you were saying. If you have one thing, do it as sufficient as you can. And it's something I always preach. Look, take important importance to your workout. That's the one thing that you have a privilege to work out. Give everything you can to it.
Mhm.
And I like that you mentioned that because we have to plan ahead.
Yeah.
I know some people, oh, I just want to squeeze it in, but I feel like that doesn't cut it. That's just usually like, okay, it's good that you got the activity done, but how efficient were you?
But that also has its place because we're parents, right?
Yeah.
So there's days where it's like I wake up late because I didn't get much sleep the night before because the
Right.
kids were waking up. So
True.
I only have 30 minutes. Before it would be the end of the world. I would get pissed because I want to get my train. Now it's
Right.
like I got 30 minutes. I got to do what I got to do, but also take into account, am I recovering enough? If I'm not, then I just have to literally go through the motion.
Right.
Go through the motion, get the hell out. I will feel better for it later. It sucks in the moment. Life always sucks in the moment. You always appreciate it later.
Now, as an athlete, as a competitor, compared to a general population, carb intake,
Hmm.
is it still applies the same rules, or because the activity and everything, we have to increase it?
Again, it goes down to an individual thing.
Yeah.
But for the most part, if you're training more, there's more demand on your body. You need more fuel. Yes, you need more carbohydrate.
Okay.
Plain and
About
simple.
protein?
Protein's incredibly important. You need that because without the protein, how are you going to be signaling your muscles to grow? Yes, the training's gonna be breaking it down, but it's the protein that's gonna be able to help build it.
Yeah, I
And
know a lot of people also focus in higher carbs during or before the workout or after. How about fat intake? Because that's something that to me, I feel like in my meals, I need the fat.
yeah, because you're a fast metabolizer, so you need fats to be able to slow down that
Yes, correct.
metabolizing of the food. For me, I don't. I carry more body fat, so I
Yeah,
I don't need as much. But
it depends.
predominantly, what I like to tell with people is keep it down to like 10 grams of fat, like pre and post. You
Right.
want little amount of fat so that the carbohydrates can do their job and replenish your glycogen stores and start the recovery process. But for someone like you, that's where it gets fun and interesting because okay, now we have this puzzle that we have to put together.
Yeah.
So I know for you, I would probably say let's bring it up to 20 grams and maybe
Yeah.
even add a little bit like fibrous, like half of an avocado or
Yeah,
something like
because I
that.
remember we spoke about all these things that I always had issues with that because I can consume food.
Yeah, you
I have
can.
no problem eating whole food. I
Mhm.
have a problem with texture light food because then I either drink it or eat it too quick, 30, 40 minutes. It's like I'm empty.
Yeah. But then that's where I would tell people now, being older and understanding more, you have to
Yeah, but
chew
that
your
has
food.
changed now.
Yeah, you
Now
have
I
to chew
can
your
get away with
food.
less food for some reason. Sometimes actually working in the morning without food gives me better focus.
Well, that's where the nuance of nutrition comes in, which is
Yeah.
really interesting because I find that if I just have protein and fat for breakfast,
Correct.
like
Yeah.
what I do before I go to work, I would have a protein shake with a whole avocado in it and some cinnamon, and then I'm good, and then I can stay sharp. That really works for me. Or then there's also days where I'm really tired and I need a boost of energy, so I'll have carbohydrates with it. But predominantly, I find that for me that helps.
Is there any difference as far as nutrition when you are like off season, when you're doing your hypertrophy, your high volume, and let's say what changes could we make to enhance our performance to like strength blocks and peaking blocks, etc. Because it hits the body a different way. I'm assuming the demands in nutrition should be different.
Well, yeah, because there's going to be a higher demand on the body. You can actually you're specifically going in with the purpose of wanting to get stronger or build muscle. Getting stronger is going to help you build more muscle. So that's going to create more demand on the body. So yes, food needs to come up, but it doesn't need to come up as much as you think. Before, back in the day for us, it was just like bulking. Oh, you got to eat
Yes.
everything. Now you'd be surprised. You can probably just find your maintenance and probably go 100 calories over that, 200 calories over that, and then that should be a sweet spot. There's no need to get sloppy with it.
Okay.
That's what I find, you know? There really is no need, but there is more demand. But then again, I would then talk to that person. It's like, so if you're off season, this is your goal, yeah. How much effort are you putting into sleeping? I find that
Right.
sleeping is the best drug you can have. If you're able to get good deep sleep to be able to recover, that's just as good as anything else, man. To be able to go in and make and see the physical change.
And for an athlete, what's a good sleep?
They always say 7 to 8 hours. I say if you can function on 6 hours and wake up great the next day, that's it for you.
Yeah, that's me.
I work on 5. I have no
Yeah.
choice.
Right. Five,
I just
six is good enough.
I have no choice. I have my days wrong.
But it has to make quality good 5, 6. Sometimes if
Correct.
I wake up too much, then I'm useless.
Correct. And then that's where if you're finding that your deep sleep is not good or you're waking up tired,
Right.
then you have to make adjustments as to when to cut off caffeine. I like to tell people cut off caffeine like by 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock,
Okay.
and then you
So
should
caffeine is a
yeah,
problem too, because
yeah.
I that for me it's also a big problem with that.
Hmm.
Oh, I see. Okay, so as far as like some power lifters, wake up.
Weight cut? Oh, dude, this is
What
like
what's okay? So I have my things, and I'll put it this for the viewers because I know this is a topic. I personally hate doing this
I
because we're
despise
in
it.
the business of getting strong, not on looking trim or lowering your body weight, unless you have some specific records that you want to accomplish. But if you're starting local meets or even state meets or anything happening, I don't see the need of really losing that much weight as far as like get strong, period.
Yeah,
And for those who does like to do the wake up, my take on this is that I'll start on the off season. Let's gradually start cutting time since you're already training with high volume. So at the time that you get into your strength peaking block, you're not too far off. So it's an easy transition. But there's some of those that have to do 15, 12, 20 pounds weight cut. What would be good recommendations that we don't lose strength and things like that? Or things that you have experienced or seen?
so I'll go by my experience when
Yeah.
I've done it because I remember at one point I had to drop like about 15 pounds because it was just one of those preps. It was just sucking the life out of me, and it was just making me gain weight actually because I was dealing with a lot of stress. So what I did was I would just start cutting down my carbs at the beginning of the week, but I would increase my water intake and increase my sodium intake. But
Towards the end of the day.
no, in
Oh,
general,
the general.
in general, at
Okay.
the beginning of the week, if
I
I'm
see.
going to be peaking for that
Yeah.
meet on the weekend, that's what I would do. And then I would slowly, gradually increase the carbohydrates and then lower the water intake. And then from there, depending on where I'm at, I would just be more active. I would be walking more, trying to sweat more, and then the good old just getting into a sauna, dude. I had to do that a couple times and get ghetto with it. I remember me and Helen, my wife, we would get into the bathtub and we would just close the door, crank up the hot water, and
Water.
just chill there and just talk and just let it all come out, and then we would make weight. It's not fun. It sucks. It really sucks, and it's not conducive towards what you want. I feel like that's just putting your body under too much pressure. You're young, you can get away with it, but being older now, I would tell you don't do that. I would say if you're starting out to lift and get strong, build muscle. You're building muscle, then that means that you're going to be able to have higher demands for food. So unless you're going for a certain weight class, I would say, like you did, start early. For those people in particular, I would love to work with them for a year and just periodize the whole year. What I mean by periodize is picking and choosing moments when you're actively gaining to get stronger, and then moments when you're looking to lose so that you can prepare to get ready for that specific meet.
Oh. How about is any secrets or anything that we can do as far as recovery after a meet? Because that's something I'm dealing with currently.
Yeah.
I
Easy.
didn't. I tell you what. Just to give you a little heads of that. My last competition in powerlifting was 2019. That was 7 years ago.
Hmm.
I was ready to go 3 days after.
Yeah.
I can come into the gym, of course, tired, fatigue, normal. I did a meet a week ago, 2 weeks ago now. I'm still struggling.
You're older. You
Yeah.
have this business. You have your family. You have more demand on you. It's different.
So it's like I don't remember being that sucky. Like useless to the point like I wanted to sleep all the time. Granted, everything else doesn't stop, but my body was just not cooperating. Like I wasn't driving. Like okay, let me try to move. Let me do some cardio. No, nothing. I was eating about the same. I just couldn't recover until probably last in 2 days ago.
That's where I would tell you need to lower the volume in the gym,
Yeah,
increase water intake, and
water intake.
also sleep. You gotta focus as much focus as you put on
Yeah,
getting stronger. You need to put that into sleep
yeah.
because you're getting older. You
Sh-
need that rest because you're clear. You have to understand, like us redlining now is
Yeah,
not like how it used to be. We would recover quickly. Now it's like, dude, I'm dealing with plantar fasciitis right now, and it's like I aggravated it. What was it? A week and a half ago, and
yeah.
it's only now getting better. Like what the hell, dude?
Right.
This is ridiculous. But you have to understand you need to focus more on rest than anything
Okay.
with that level of intensity.
So as far as your own experience with nutrition, what what do you think is a good recommendation all across the board? We established for sure the importance of sleeping,
Hmm.
the importance of carbs, and the importance of eating whole foods.
Yeah.
That seems to be among all different diets, whatever the crazy diet is, still pretty much as the same. And then we supplement. The word says supplement because it's not a replacement.
Hmm.
So, what will you think is the common things that people lack when they come to you as far as their nutrition um,
It's just
program?
lack.
Let's say.
It's lack of knowledge, really. It's
Okay.
just them going by whatever information that they've seen
It's trendy.
that they've just put together and gone. I have to really plug a lot of holes from what they're doing. So
Mhm.
like I said before, I like to start people with a multivitamin just to make sure you're getting vitamins and minerals because you're clearly not getting that from food. But as we work together and you start eating more, then that necessity for a multivitamin is going to go out the window because you're already eating plenty and getting plenty of vitamins and minerals from your food.
Yeah, but I find out, and this is something I heard a lot, and it's normal here, I think, in the US. It's a lot of carb consumption, people. Most of the people that come in one star, they're already on like higher carb, maybe pre-diabetic,
Mhm.
and just from that point is the starting point. I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of the people that I talk to and the people that I meet, they're coming from that specific starting point. So based it on these people, what would you recommend?
So, I mean, if you're coming pre-diabetic, you also have to understand that that's not like the end of the world. You can
Okay.
have carbohydrates. You just
Okay.
can't have as much.
Right.
So what you need to do is you need to focus on creating an environment to be able to eat more. So if you're pre-diabetic, just simply hydrating more and just starting to work out, that in of itself would help to start minimizing that and then making sure that you're opting for more complex carbohydrates as well, more fiber, making sure that you're having bowel movements.
Yeah.
Dude, you'd be surprised. I deal with so many clients that they don't have daily bowel movements.
So we don't consume that much fiber.
They don't consume much fiber and they also just don't. Dude, I don't understand. I keep hammering on this, but they
Yeah.
just also don't drink enough water. If you're having all that
And
food and you're not having water,
what's the recommendation for water? Because I was just talking to a member here. he has to have a 1 gallon thing, and he pretty much goes almost to 2.5 gallons a day. I personally, not even maybe I touch a gallon.
I would say you got to be careful. Sometimes there's you can't have too much and you can't have too little, right?
Right. So what's the average?
Average, take your body weight in half and have that. So I weigh what,
So half that. Yeah, correct. Let's say me. Yeah,
235, so or 240, so then that would be 120 ounces of water
ounces.
a
So
day.
that will mean half of water.
Half your
Ounces.
body weight in ounces. That's a good that's a good way to start. Plain and
So
simple.
you want to increment, or does that satisfies it?
I would say then it depends. Are you in the summer? Is it really hot where you are?
Oh, I
Or is
see.
it cold? Because then that's going to impact, because the more you sweat, then the more demand you need for water and hydration.
Oh, I see.
Because
Okay.
dude,
Yeah.
understand this. If you're not hydrating before you train, that in of itself is going to affect you tremendously. You won't be able to have the same power output just for
Right.
something as little as water. It's really, really important, dude. Super important.
Thus, having the caffeine drinks.
So
Like, you know how the energy drinks and all that. What impact has that on you? Of course, we all know the high intake of caffeine, then it messes up your sleeping pattern.
mhm,
What other things?
increases cortisol for too long as well.
Cortisol, right?
Yeah, I mean that's going to that's going to affect you tremendously. It's going to keep you wired all the time, and then it's going to just have you too antsy. People like to have that feeling of getting buzzed. You don't need that much caffeine. 200 milligrams, you're good.
But I feel like most people consume that because the other things have been being taken care of, that they feel too sluggish, and that puts them on level.
So I would say then you have to work towards minimizing that, and it's going to be a little uncomfortable at first.
Yeah.
You'll live. It's okay. You'll get adapted to
All
it.
right.
You'll be fine. And then you're going to start noticing, again, sleeping more is going to have a little less demand on caffeine because you're having natural energy already. And then you're getting that from food. And if you're digesting your food, really, what's the need? It's just, if anything, I would say if there's a day when you want to go in and you want to max out and you're trying to test, have caffeine, because caffeine's going to help. It'll help give you that boost to be able to go in and give it your all. But I find that there's too much of a reliance on caffeine
All right.
just to get through the day. But also, being Dominican, we love our coffee, dude.
Yeah, but black coffee and energy drinks are a completely different story.
Yeah. But I've also drank a lot of those those
Yeah.
pre-workouts, and I've noticed that it actually messed with me too much. If I would get too stimulated, I couldn't concentrate on what I'm doing.
To
So
generate.
yeah, well, that, and it's just my brain is just so wired that I can't focus on stabilizing and racing and
Yeah.
making sure that my body's in a position to be able to squat that heavy weight.
Yeah.
And then that would lead me to injury.
Anything that you wanted to add to the general population or competitors as far as nutrition that we didn't touch so far?
I would say approach it with the same level of respect as you would approach anything else. You love training, cool. Love how you take care of yourself just as much. If you don't take care of yourself, all that stuff you're doing in the gym is gonna be for nothing. If you're young, yeah, you'll get away with it like I did, but then at some point, it's gonna start. Yo, life's gonna come back, and it's gonna be asking for its payment back.
Yeah.
You know.
So you mentioned that now your focus has been on longevity.
Mhm.
Does this changes as far as longevity?
Well, it's, yeah, to a degree, because for me now, I just have to be really, really hyper focused on my environment and what triggers me, and making sure that I have things set in place so that I'm always calm, I'm collected, and that I can approach my day. So I know that if I need to eat my 4 meals a day, I have to make sure I eat fruits
So
and
4 meals a
vegetables
day it seems to be like a good
for me.
spot for you.
For
For
me.
you.
Yeah, some people, it depends. I would say for you, need you probably need to eat more times, more frequently throughout the
Yeah.
day, because you just have a higher demand.
How about a busy person? I have a lot of clients that are
That are what?
busy at work.
Yeah.
So sometimes because they're caught up in computer meetings and stuff like that, they just don't have time. How do we help those people out? So they only eat a breakfast. If so, then they skip the lunch because of work and they don't eat until like 6 o'clock and then to the gym.
I'm that person now, because of
Right.
my new job, or with this my new position is so demanding that I need to be. So it's almost like I need to go back to my old bodybuilding days.
Okay.
I have to make sure I prep my food and I have it ready. If I tend to forget, because Sometimes do now. I never used to understand that when I was younger, but being an adult with responsibility now, I have to make sure, okay, I have my smartphone, cool, I'll set an alarm. I need to eat. If I don't eat and I don't take my lunch, how do you expect me to work for you and be able to function properly and
Can
do
we
a good
add
job?
snacks? Let's say it's hard for people to have a whole meal.
Mhm.
Do you recommend like snacks in betweens, or what do they have to consist of?
I would say, yeah, if you need to snack, then snack. There's nothing wrong with that. I
Yeah.
like to keep things simple. Rice cakes with some maybe
Yeah.
nut butters, smearing it on top, maybe even flavored rice cakes, smearing it on top with some smearing some nut butters, and then just having a protein shake. We live in an age of convenience now. There's no reason why you can't do it. It really just comes down to, are you doing what you need to
Discipline.
do
Yeah.
to get yourself there? So you have a smartphone. Who doesn't? You have a watch. Set an alarm. You got to eat.
And then a message to those people who haven't started, they're thinking about starting a journey. What will be an advice that you give them, or recommendations for these people that haven't started? I know there's a lot of you guys are thinking about maybe jumping into nutrition program, but jumping into training, and you just can't make it happen for whatever X, Y, and Z reason that you put in front of you. What advice would you give them?
Stick with it. Show up. Just
Sure.
keep showing up. There's gonna be so many days where you don't want to go, and you go in, you just have a shitty workout. That shitty workout is way better than doing nothing.
How do we do that with nutrition?
Same way. You have to set parameters around the day for yourself. So listen, if you can't eat solid meals throughout the day, at least promise me you can have one solid meal, and then the other ones can be liquid nutrition. But you gotta get something in. You
So
have to,
yeah,
and then at
not
some
eating
point,
is never a good thing. That's
correct.
something I was telling. Actually, detrimental to your body because you gain weight.
Correct. Because of stress.
Yeah.
But then I would tell people at some point, listen, I have a lot of people that come up to me, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't do that. But then why the hell are you here with me? You have to, at some point, you need to be responsible for yourself, and you need to understand that you need to eat. So you need to do what you need to do to get there. I can't do that for you. I can tell you, but I can't do it. If you can't do it, then we can't
Then
do
you
it.
have to say what you have to say like it is. At some point, you have to make a decision to make the changes that needs to be made to get the goals that you want to accomplish. That comes through life, work, training, nutrition, sleeping, relationships, and everything around it comes around it. And something that noticed that once these things are in place, like as you mentioned from your own experience, things get better.
Yeah.
Things get easier.
Yep.
You're more accustomed. It becomes a lifestyle as opposed to something that I have to do.
It almost gets to the point where if you don't do it, you feel off. You
Right.
feel really uncomfortable. And they say, but then once you start doing it again, it's just like clockwork. It's just anyone who starts something when they don't see something right away, it's not going to be fun, and it's just I gotta stop.
Correct. Because you need adaptation to
You
happen.
gotta get through. You gotta get through that phase of suck. Just go through it, march through it. Trust me, you'll be better off later on.
Absolutely. All right, guys. This is Jeff.
Yeah,
Hope you guys like this episode. And if you guys have any questions or anything like that, just fill up the comments. Let us know.
yeah.
We can also reach Jeff for nutrition advice, programs, or any guidelines that you need. And we put all his information on the link below. And then thank you for watching.
Yeah. Take care, guys. Thank you.
Awesome.